Hello everyone, in this video we're going to talk about parallel lists and what they are and why they matter. Basically, in a series of elements, all the elements need to have the exact same format. That's why we call it parallel, because these things have to be the same. So if we have a noun, then we need another noun. If we have a gerund, then we need another gerund. And what is a gerund? A gerund is simply a verb that ends in ing that is no longer a verb, but is now a noun. Okay, let's look at some examples. Changes in wind circulation, runoff from sewage, and using chemical fertilizers, blah, blah, blah. That's just the beginning of the sentence. Is that sentence correct? No, it's not. It's not correct. We don't say the sentence in that way. And the reason why is because we have a noun, and a gerund. So in the first part we have changes, then we have runoff, and then in the third part we have using. That's a noun, and that's a gerund. It's not parallel. How do we make it correct? Well, we look over here. Changes in wind circulation, runoff from sewage, and use of chemical fertilizers. So we have noun, noun, noun. That's correct. It's parallel now. Remember that. On the exam, whenever you see a list or a collection of stuff, the stuff has to be noun, 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 or gerund, gerund, gerund. You can never have noun, gerund, noun, or any combination that's not parallel. Let's look at another example. When he drives home, the sentence here, when he drives home, he makes himself a sandwich. I don't know why I said sandwich. He makes himself a sandwich, sits down at his desk, and then he will start his homework. So, is that correct? When he drives home, he makes himself a sandwich, sits down at his desk, and then he will start his homework. That's not correct, because we have a list, we have a collection of things, and those things are simply actions that this guy will do once he gets home. He makes himself a sandwich, sits down at his desk, and then he will start his homework. That's not parallel, and the reason why that's not parallel is because the tenses of the verbs are different. So he makes is present, sits is present, but at the end we don't have a present tense, we have a future tense. So they need to be the same. That's what parallel means, at least in grammar. How do we correct the sentence? Well, we say, when he drives home, he makes himself a sandwich, sits down at his desk, and starts his homework. He makes, he sits, he starts. Instead of saying he makes, he sits, and then he will start. Keep in mind, parallel things need to be the same. That's why they're called parallel. Most lizards communicate by moving, gesturing, or to display their tongues. Right now, by now, you should know that that is incorrect, right? I mean, yeah, lizards communicate by displaying their tongues, but you should know that the sentence itself is grammatically incorrect because we have gerund, noun, or verb. Most lizards communicate by moving, gesturing, or displaying their tongues. ing, and ing. That's how we know that it's correct. Prepositions and idioms. So before we go there, I just want to make sure that you understand what parallel lists are. Basically, if you have a collection of things, they all need to be in the same format, essentially. Let's talk about prepositions. A preposition is a position in location or time. If you watch these videos, you'll realize that prepositions show up a lot on the exam. I would really recommend that you memorize a list of prepositions. They're just words that indicate where you are, either in the physical world or where you are in time dimension. So words like aboard, above, along, through, of, or after. Those are prepositions. Prepositions are always followed by a noun or a pronoun. That is very important. After every preposition, you have a noun or a pronoun. And if you don't, that's incorrect. This shortcut, in and of itself, will save you a lot of time. For example, if we say after the party, we have after as a preposition, and we have the, we have after, and we have the party. So we have a preposition, and we have a noun. On, another preposition, the car is a noun. For is another preposition. The people is a noun. Prepositions have to always be followed by a noun or a pronoun. If they're not, it's wrong. Let's look at the final example here. Steve has a familiarity in German grammar. Does that sound right? I mean, sometimes these are the prepositions that are used in English indicate how well someone knows English, because if you use the preposition correctly, you can construct idioms correctly. So the fact that we say a familiarity with instead of a familiarity in, that's just an idiom. But this is wrong right here, this first sentence. Steve has a familiarity in German grammar is not something that we say. Steve has a familiarity with German grammar. So I hope you understood the video. I hope you liked the video. I suggest that you watch the video again because prepositions are so important on the SATs. And the parallel lists that I explained in the first part of the video are going to save you a lot of time if you recognize right now that a collection of things must always be in the same format. And before I sign off, I just want you to see that when we say in right here, we also have German grammar. So every preposition is followed by a noun or pronoun. In, and then noun or pronoun. With, preposition, noun or pronoun. That's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.